This is Kevin Conroy, and I am the goddamn Batman.
The art of the unexpected. This is really what I do with Batman. You know, give the audience something they don't expect that Batman would be or do, because when you're in that cape and cowl and you're Batman, people expect you to do certain things, to be a superhero. But he ain't that. He's a regular guy and kind of a jerk from time to time, which is really fun to play.
Hello, and welcome to Legends of the Brave and the Bold. I'm your host, Steve Megatron Phillips, and joining me as always on this podcast is...
TFU and Mike.
Hello, and it's been a while.
It's been a while. Technically... We have not become Brave and Bold yet. We are still Dark Knight. But, yes, Legends of the Brave and Bold, Legends of the Dark Knight, we are back. We are here. The next episode, you'll hear episode 41 or whatever the hell, is our talk on The Batman Season 1. We recorded that over a year ago at this point, but, oh well.
Was it that long ago?
Yeah, it's something.
We never released it?
Nope. Because I was waiting for these scores, and then life happened. Life just kind of exploded, and
man, we're jerks.
Yeah, we're real jerks. Yeah,
we've been holding out on these people.
Yes, we have. Well, it's not like they give us any iTunes reviews or anything else. I mean, some have, and we very much appreciate those that have, but others not so much. Just because you're silent listeners doesn't mean you can't record. Just write a simple review. Let me see here. LOTDK 41. That was record. Yeah, well,
It was ages ago.
It was how? Okay, wait, what?
What?
It says it was created Saturday, May 27th, 2017. But it says it was modified Tuesday, October 4th, 2016. I have no idea when the hell we did the Batman Season 1. I could have sworn it was before I went to California last year. Anyway.
I think you like to time travel.
Yeah. I prefer DeLoreans over police boxes. Thank you very much. But we're here to do a compare and contrast for two very different Batman films. We're going to be talking about Batman, Return of the Caped Crusaders, and then after that, we're going to be talking about Batman, the Killing Joke. At the end, we will talk about the scores for each of these films, brought to you by La La Land Records. Head on over to lalalandrecords.com, where soundtracks live.
Where do they live?
At La La Land Records. They live in La La Land.
Exactly.
So yeah, Batman: Return of the Caped Crusaders. Adam West as Bruce Wayne Batman. May you rest in peace, sir. Burt Ward as Dick Grayson Robin, Julie Newmar as Catwoman, Jeff Bergman as the Joker and announcer, William Salers as the Penguin, Wally Wingert as the Riddler, Jim Ward as Commissioner James Gordon, Stephen Weber as Alfred Pennyworth, Thomas Lennon as Chief Miles O'Hara, Lynn Marie Stewart as Aunt Harriet Cooper, and Serena Irwin as Miranda Moore and other Catwomen as well. It says this. I was very skeptical about this. I was excited, but I was skeptical when I heard the news that this was going to be a thing. Especially at the time, because all of those original actors were and are getting up there in age. And Adam West's voice has never really faltered over.
He's never aged. He's always had that.
Yep.
Well, Robin.
Yep.
Let's get to the Batcave.
Yep. Absolutely.
And then Burt Ward has a little bit, but it's not enough to make a big of a difference.
Yeah, no, not at all. And others that were on the original series, obviously, some have passed since this. But Return of the Caped Crusaders, I thought it was okay up to a certain point, and then I felt the plot just kind of went like somebody stole the Batmobile without its wheel or something and just decided to go joyriding, because this movie is, in my personal opinion, longer than it should be.
It is longer than it should be. I will agree with you on that. And they did drag some of the hokiness out. However, I will say that it is a much welcome addition. Mm-hmm. Basically showing what would happen if the Adam West Batman were evil. Mm-hmm. And showing us just how dark the and in what way that series would go.
Yeah.
If it went in that direction. So I really enjoyed what they did with it, and the ability to kind of keep as close to the original continuity as possible.
Did you feel at all that you were watching 6 different episodes of the TV series? Not necessarily just 6, but like various episodes, because every so often I felt like, oh, this should be a stopping point, like a to be continued, or next week on Batman, or tomorrow on Batman. Like, it felt like
I would have found it really humorous if they did do that.
Yeah.
To kind of break it up a little bit.
Yeah. Like, remember,
will Batman ever recover?
Yeah.
Will Aunt Harriet ever get to go back in the Wayne Manor? You know.
Yeah.
Will the Joker have the last laugh?
Yes. It just felt like this should have, like, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it for what it is. I like the campiness and the hokiness of what it is because of what it's supposed to be. I have no problem with that because I know that's what it's supposed to be. However, I wish it was more of what Gotham Knight was. Gotham Knight was specifically the original DCU movie from X number of years ago, 2008, I think.
That movie was horrid.
No. I know that movie was horrid. Yes, you're right. It was. What I'm saying is, that movie was 6 different vignettes, or 4. It was 4 different things, or 6 different. It was 6 different stories in one. It made up one film. That's what I think this should have been. You could still have this story, but just have those to be continueds, or this, that, and the other thing, or whatever. Because as it is, this movie is too bat damn long. It just really is.
I enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it too.
And I honestly didn't have that big of an issue with it. There are some other animated films that were too long that had no reason to be that long.
Very true. How do we want to summarize the plot for this thing? Because there's a lot here to summarize.
Villains come together as a almost got him type scenario. They end up getting him, and it doesn't go quite as planned.
No, not at all.
And then it's kind of in every man for himself, and you have the triple Catwoman, which was actually really funny.
It was a nice nod to the fact that there were three.
I thought that was just beautiful writing.
Absolutely.
to kind of tie up that loose end of why there's three.
Yep. It worked out so well. Very much did. This is a light and bright kind of movie that kind of gets a little dark when Batman goes evil. All of the hokiness, the campiness is well done. The writing is done very well. The music is done well, which we'll talk about later. I mean, the dynamic music partners and Neil Herefty, I think I'm saying that name wrong.
I will say that they did a spectacular job homaging the original series. If it weren't for the fact that I knew that this was a new production,
yep, you'd think it was the classic series.
I would think that I was watching something from way back then. Mm-hmm. Because it's just that stinking good.
Very much so. Absolutely. I did, even though I've said that I enjoyed the campiness and the hokiness of it, I cringed at some of the jokes. Like,
oh no, there were some really bad jokes. Again, it felt like we were watching the 60s show, and I'm going... Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, just absolutely loved this pretty much. It was one of those movies where you have the villains coming together to do a team up, like you said, a la Almost Got Him from BTAS, but they've done that kind of thing in the 60s show before. It's never worked out. Like, you look at Batman the movie from 1966. It's the Joker, Penguin, and Catwoman, and I think that's where they kind of got their inspiration here from. Obviously, they throw the Riddler in, and they throw some other villains in.
Well, the Riddler was in that movie.
Oh, that's right, he was. Duh.
It was Riddler,
Catwoman, Joker, Catwoman,
Penguin.
Yep. Okay, that's who it was.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, so it's fully homaging that, I think.
Yeah, that film, I definitely got the essence of it here. The same token, I was amazed at like they put a little bit of a modern twist to the classic Batman title. Mm-hmm. Like, you can hear it if you're like somebody who is sitting there with this playing and the original, and the closing as well. But they did it in such a way that it wasn't necessarily an homage, but a way of getting this whole the whole thing to feel more like it's the original. And then all of the clips, like, it didn't matter what clip I played. Mm-hmm. They were all fun, upbeat, like a little bit hokey, but I kind of got like this vibe, like they mixed, and I know that they worked on some of this stuff too, but like I got some of like the Batman the Animated Series vibes, but given the 60s treatment.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
Absolutely, it does, yes.
And I was like, man, I feel like I'm right at home listening to this soundtrack.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Like I said, we will talk about the music here in a bit, but the movie itself, very well done. Outside of the main four villains, you also had people show up like Archer and Black Widow, Bookworm, Clock King, Egghead, Falseface, King Tut, Louis the Lilac, Mad Hatter, Minstrel, Mr. Freeze, Sandman, Shame, and Siren. So, very cool, throwing in all the old villains from the series.
Yeah, that was probably my favorite part is the jailbreak, and then having these villains just parading around that I remember from the original show. So it was really really funny to watch.
Yep. And then I had to cringe at the end because at the end Bruce and Dick throw Aunt Harriet a surprise party, and because that's the secret they were keeping from her. Like, even in the 60s show, when I would watch it in re-airings in the 80s as a kid, I loathed Aunt Harriet. Like,
I despised that character so bad. I was like, why is she here? Mm-hmm. I'm like, yeah, Bruce Wayne just needs his aunt to sit there and babysit him. He's in his 30s.
Yeah.
Like, there was no realistic reason why she was even present in the Wayne Manor.
I think she, in the old show, in the old series, I think it was because she was the Aunt B type, Aunt B from, like, Andy Griffith. She was that type of character. And they had to have, I mean, up until the point that Barbara becomes Batgirl, they had to have somebody else besides Barbara getting in trouble with the villains, like getting caught or getting captured or whatever. I don't know.
I didn't much care for that.
Yeah.
That part. But, like, Chief Quimby, though, is like our Bullock.
Yeah, Chief O'Hara.
Yep.
Yeah.
I say Chief Quimby. I meant that's from Inspector Gadget.
Yep. I would have loved to have gone to do this for this and The Killing Joke. This ended up in select cinemas October 10th of the year that it came out, which is very, very cool.
I think it was even out in the cinemas where I live.
Mm-hmm.
But due to its release time, there was something else that came up, and I could not make that time to go see it.
Oh, dang.
And I was like, man, and I think I was going to see it with, and I mean, I could be wrong. I may be confusing this with the Dragon Ball Z movie, but for the release, but I want to say that it was available as well in my area. So either way, I didn't get to see it till it hit DVD, and then the kind folks at Warner Brothers sent it to me for a review, and
don't say it.
What?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say I never got around to it or something.
No, it was a spectacular disc.
Yes,
like how it was set up and the menu system and the because I like looking at the menu and everything when it comes to the Blu-rays and seeing what features are on it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it was released at New York Comic Con October 6th. It went wide October 10th of last year. And on that date, like I said, it had limited release in various theaters. And again, I think that's really cool, especially for something like this specifically. Like, how many people growing up watching Batman, or people growing up when it was actually airing on television, or even us growing up in the 80s and 90s watching it in reruns, how many of us could have ever said that we saw any of it on a big ass screen? Not a lot of us.
Well, and I remember my initial introduction to Batman was the 60s show. My mom, because she grew up with it, she showed it to me, and that was what kind of hooked me on the character after that.
Mm-hmm. Same here. Although I much preferred, as bad as this is going to sound, I like Adam West as animated Batman and all the Scooby-Doo and stuff, because that was just so cool. I mean, I love the 60s show. I do. I love the television show, but like for me, it was all about animated Batman, whether it was Super Friends, whether it was Scooby-Doo stuff, whatever it was. I absolutely love it. We are going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back to hear from Batman's greatest enemy ever.
All it takes is one bad day.
So, Batman, the Killing Joke. Released July 22nd, 2016 in SDCC. Wide release in the US July 25th, 2016. Animated adaptation of the classic graphic novel. First 30 minutes of the movie felt nothing like The Killing Joke whatsoever.
Because it wasn't in The Killing Joke whatsoever.
Exactly.
And then blatantly showing Batman boning Batgirl, it was kind of like you kind of assumed it happened behind the scenes.
Yeah.
You didn't necessarily need to know it happened.
Yeah.
Or the entire backstory, which had nothing to do with it. They were just like, how can we make this characteristically longer than it has to be?
That, and how can we make this so uncharacteristically awkward than it really has to be? Like, the whole scene, and I know I'm jumping ahead here, but the whole scene in the library after the fact of the boning on the roof, or the batting on the roof, or whatever the hell you want to call it.
The bat and the belfry.
Yeah, there is that too. Like, the whole time she's talking to her, whatever assistant or whoever the hell this guy is, it's like, oh my god, we get it. You can't tell him that Bruce Wayne is Batman and blah, that you're dating, whatever. Like,
they made her, I don't know, they kind of weakened her character by making her seem extraneously whiny.
Yep, pretty much.
And there was no reason for it.
Nope.
So, I was a little peeved with how they did that, because she's supposed to be like this strong character, and they made her like super whiny. Mm-hmm. And I was like, no. Like, why did you do this to me?
Yep. So, like, I know a lot of people were up in arms about the whole bat sex scene in the movie, but it is a rated R animated film.
Was it rated R or rated R?
Either one. Whichever you'd like. Yeah, it's rated R. Joker is a pirate. No, not really. Outside of that, because I know a lot of people were up in arms about that, we've seen in other animated media and things allusions, like take BTAS or the DCAU, for example. There have been allusions that Bruce and Barbara had a relationship or dated or something, and obviously they never showed any sex scenes with that or anything else, thank God, but it's just one of those things where just because you have an R rating doesn't mean you need to do a story bit that ruins characters. And while this didn't necessarily ruin Batgirl's character for me, I still didn't really care for it. I know why a lot of people were upset about it, but at the same time, when the news first broke about it before the movie even came out, I was like, okay, well, it can't be that bad. Yeah, it's pretty bad. Because the rest of the movie, the whole relationship between the two of them is so damn awkward. Let's talk about the Joker, shall we? Because the story is intercut with the flashbacks of the Joker's origin. It is revealed that he was once a lab technician who quit his job to become a stand-up comedian, only to fail miserably. Desperate to support his pregnant wife, Jeannie, he agrees to help two criminals rob his former workplace. The criminals tell him that he has to use the Red Hood's mask and caped costume, secretly intending to frame him. During the planning of the police inform him that Jeannie and their unborn child died in the household accident. In a household accident, grief-stricken, he tries to withdraw from the plan, but the criminals strong-arm him into keeping his commitment to them. Okay, so they don't say what his name is, thank God. He has a wife, he has an unborn child, but they died, unfortunately. Is there anything out of the origin here that just drives you crazy?
I didn't really care. On the one run regard, because it was just I find this part to be kind of cringeworthy anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Just this whole begging Joker. I don't care for it.
Yeah. The only thing that I was really looking forward to in this film was the recreation of the classic scene from the graphic novel of him showing up at Barbara's door, Hawaiian shirt, all of that, with the gun, and he shoots her. I know it's sad for me to say that I was looking forward to this, but I wanted to make sure they got it right and didn't screw it up. Not that I think that they would have, but you never know. So they got that right, and obviously by the end of the film, it shows her turning on the computer in her wheelchair, and the Oracle logo pops up. I don't really
the whole thing of Commissioner Gordon too getting just traumatized. The whole
that was a little nuts.
I think it's a little bit different in one regard for this to be in comic form versus animated.
Right.
Not that I didn't like hearing Hamill and Conroy reprise their roles, but I felt I don't know. It was just kind of a creepy freaking film, and the music played very well to that.
Yes. Really quick before we go to the music, I'll say, like you, I very much enjoy Hamill and Conroy in the roles, and I think they work well off of each other in the roles. However, who's the artist that Brian? Oh, what's his name? Brian Bolland, is that right? For the novel,
I think so.
Okay. Brian Boland's art style, to me, does not fit the Kevin Conroy Batman voice. It's like I said when we did Gotham Knight years and years and years ago on Tooncast. Kevin Conroy's voice just sometimes doesn't fit the look that the Batman character is. And this is another one of those times where I just don't think it worked properly. Like I said, it's nice to have, that it's here, but
yeah, I mean, I kind of feel that too, but I don't know. It was I did like seeing the Batman animated series Batmobile return.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That was probably one of my favorite parts.
Absolutely, that was great. Yeah, I was right, Brian Boland, because it's written by Alan Moore. I was right. Just had to make sure. Yeah, that was pretty much the other only highlight, is seeing the animated series. So the music, the animated series Batmobile, the one scene from the novel being accurate with the whole shooting of Barbara Gordon. Which kind of really, the way they framed it made it wrong. Not the scene, but the way they framed the story, where she and Batman are getting busy, in the belfry and all that. And
or, as they would say in the 90s, getting jiggy with it.
Yeah, really.
Where's Will Smith?
He's over there, not making any money or whatever. I don't know.
He's playing Deadshot.
Yeah, that's about the only paycheck he's cashing these days.
He getting jiggy with it.
Yep.
No.
Well, I'm
horrible.
Yes, you are. So the scene, the whole sex scene thing, and then her getting injured later, makes the Batman-Batgirl relationship even worse afterwards. It just does not do a good job of it at all. I don't know. So, before we get to the music, what would you rate each of these films, 0 to 5 stars?
the Caped Crusader, I'd give it a 4, just because of the groan factor of some of the jokes and just some of the fact that it went on a little bit too long. But Killing Joke, I'm gonna give it a 3, just because it's not one I'll probably ever go back and watch.
Yeah.
Just because of how dark it is. Whereas Caped Crusader, I would be more apt to say, hey, let's try it again.
Yep. For me, I will give Caped Crusader about a 3.5. Like you said, a couple of the jokes are a little too corny, but I did very much overall enjoy it. It's middle ground, bordering on really good for me. Killing Joke, the movie itself, the plot and all of that, not counting the music, because the music is great in both of these, but not counting the music, just the plot and the act, just the story. I gotta give the film overall a 2.
The Killing Joke?
Yes. Because, yeah, it was not like... I just finished watching it before we started. I just finished watching both films again before we started recording this. And The Killing Joke just left such a horrible, horrible taste in my mouth. I don't ever want to ever watch that movie again.
The Killing Joke?
Yes,
yeah,
never.
I had a very difficult time sitting through it.
Yep. Yeah, it was painful. So, we're going to take another quick break. We're going to come back and we're going to analyze the music from both of these films, both done by dynamic music partners, which consists of Lolita Romanos, Christopher Carter, and Michael McQuistion. We'll be back after this.
This is Matt Verbois from La La Land Records, and you've entered the La La Land Lounge on Geekcast Radio.
We are back here on Legends of the Dark, Brave and the Bold, or whatever you want to call it, nighttime kind of thing, and we're going to compare and contrast the scores from La La Land Records of Batman, Return of the Caped Crusaders, and Batman, The Killing Joke, because, as I've said in this podcast, they are both done by dynamic music partners, which, as I've said, consists of Lolita Romanos, Christopher Carter, and Michael McQuistion. Very, very cool. We're going to start with the dark this time, and then go into the light, since we started with the light and went into the dark. Batman, The Killing Joke. La La Land Records, DC, and Warner Brothers Animation present the original score to the DC Universe original movie, Batman, The Killing Joke. Composers, Michael McQuistion, Christopher Carter, and Lolita Romanos. Unleash a powerful, emotionally charged score, expertly melding synth and live orchestra players into harness all the thrilling action and psychological drama within this exciting feature-length retelling of what is considered by many to be one of the finest Batman comic stories of all time. Produced by Michael McQuistion, Christopher Carter, Lolita Romanos, and mastered by James Nelson, the special limited edition release also features the original song I Go Loony, performed by the Joker himself, Mark Hamill. Writer John Takas takes you behind the score with exclusive in-depth liner notes featuring interview comments from the composers, and the Gotham-infused art design is done by Dan Goldwasser. This is a limited edition of 1,500 units. So, yeah, 35 tracks. I love the score. I know you said the film is really, really dark, and you're kind of tired of the dark Batman stuff, but damn, this score is amazing.
Oh, I never said that. I
No, I
got
know.
The vibe from it.
Yeah.
Without having to actually see the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Not saying, because I did see the movie, but...
Obviously, we wouldn't be here if you hadn't.
Yeah,
yet.
obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, the score itself is just... You definitely get that dark vibe from it.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the more somber, like, calm moments where Joker, pre-Joker, is kind of going through problems and having to deal with it and kind of making you feel for him. So, I mean, everything is kind of playing on the emotional level on even the music. but you don't necessarily have to see the graphic things happen on the screen.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually listened to the score before I watched the movie. Like, sometimes sometimes I need to watch the movie to hear the music within the film, how it plays in the scope of the story. This I did not, because I knew immediately how they were going to be scoring this, and I just love it. The three of them do such amazing work, and everything they do is so very different and specific from anything else they've done. Like, just so diverse and so interesting. And while this is a darker Batman score, on the opposite end, you have the same people doing Return of the Caped Crusader, which is very light and fun and upbeat and you know, it's like the whole kit and caboodle. Simply amazing. What I find so interesting in comparing and contrasting these scores is just how much of a instrumental each part plays on each, like how instrumental the different tones are. Like, obviously a really dark movie is going to get a really dark score. Obviously a really light movie is going to get a really light score. And there are serious moments in Return of the Caped Crusaders. There are serious tones in that music, but they're not dark at all. I think the darkest they get in Return of the Caped Crusaders score is when we find out Batman's evil. So, there's that. The thing with the Killing Joke, the coolest thing for the score, besides the actual score itself, is they included a track, as I said before, by none other than Mark Hamill, I Go Loony. What did you think of the Joker singing I Go Loony?
I really enjoyed it. Mark Hamill always is a treat in any way that he shows up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I remember when this came out for preview or review or whatever, Warner Brothers basically told La La Land Records, hey, look, the Mark Hamill track is kind of like a bonus thing. We don't want people really playing it or putting it out online. And of course, people are still going to be morons and do that. Like, I don't, like... Come on, people. Follow embargo. Jeez. You know. But yeah, I like I Go Loony. I like some of the other tracks on here as well. With Return of the Caped Crusaders, the classic themes, like the Joker Mobile Chase, like the classic Batman main title, what is it? It's classic Batman end title. There's a scene, Batcave Batmobile Arrival, that was very, very cool. What are some of your favorites from Return of the Caped Crusaders?
I liked all the villain scenes, but as far as some of the tracks that I really enjoyed, it was obviously, like I said, the intro outro. Probably some of the just because of the nostalgia factor. You get to the Bat Cave, and then there's the TV dinner factory stuff, which was kind of fun.
That was fun.
Some of the like the Bat in the Night, the Gotham crime.
Crime Spree, yeah, that was a good one.
The villain's planning. I didn't care much for the dancing stuff, but
yeah, you know, what are you gonna do, right?
I like how they made Batman basically like, I'm one step ahead of every one of you.
Yup, absolutely.
And he tried to roast Robin.
That's one foul bird. Yeah, absolutely. I love both of these scores. These are animated film scores I can listen to every now and then when I'm in a certain mood. Just both of them so very well done. Thank you so much to La La Land Records for sending them to me. Thank you so much for Dynamic Music Partners for making them. And I think that's going to do it for us on this episode. Next time, join us from whenever the hell we recorded the Batman Season 1. So, there is that. We should probably get recording the other seasons at some point, too.
Yeah, well, there's other Batman series that, we still haven't done yet, too.
Yeah. So, anything you want to say before we get the heck out of here, Joker?
Oh, no.
Yep, because it all just one bad day, so there is that.
One bad day.
Mm-hmm.
One.
That's all it
Two.
takes.
I should get my own counting show.
For a second there, I thought you were going to say 1, 2, 3. That's how many licks it takes to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Tootsie Pop.
Or actually, we could go 1, 2, 3. Ha 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 ha. Like count.
Mr. Cow.
Yes?
How many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop?
I don't know. I always end up biting. Ask Mr. Fox, for he's much cleverer than I.
Mr. Fox, how many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop?
Why don't you ask Mr. Turtle, for he's been around a lot longer than I. Me, I bite.
Mr. Turtle, how many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop?
I never made it without biting. Ask Mr. Owl, for he is the wisest of us all.
Mr. Owl, how many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop?
A good question. Let's find out. 1, 2, 3.
If there's anything I can't stand, it's a smart owl.
How many licks does it take to get to the Tootsie Roll center of a Tootsie Pop? The world may never know.
When the world is full of care, and every headline screams despair, when all is great, starvation, war, and life is vile, then there's a certain thing I do, which I shall pass along to you, that's always guaranteed to make me smile. Yes! I go loony as a light bulb battered bug, simply loony, sometimes fold and chew the rug. Mr. Life is swell in a padded cell, it'll chase those blues away. You can trade your gloom for a rubber room and injections twice a day. Just go loony like an acid casualty, or a loony or a preacher on TV. When the human race wears an anxious face, when the bomb hangs overhead, when your kid turns blue, it won't worry you. You can smile and nod instead. When you're loony, then you just don't give a fig. Man so puny, and the universe so big. If you hurt inside, get certified. And if life should treat you bad,